Good morning, evening, or night, wherever you are. Welcome to WHAM Today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world, one quiet thought at a time. As we wrap up Saturday, 28th June 2025, let's see what stories are unfolding around us. Russia is encountering challenges in its plan to increase liquefied natural gas and exports due to existing sanctions. Economically, Russia is reportedly considering cuts to military spending, even as NATO allies plan a 5% increase in their defense budgets. Despite this potential reduction, Russia asserts it has downed over 160 Ukrainian drones after a recent strike on airfields. Deputy Prime Minister of Russia stated that Russia is ready to increase gas supply to Turkey. Russia is monitoring the situation in Iran, but is unlikely to offer direct assistance. Russia has also affirmed its support for Malaysia's nuclear energy plans, according to Fadila. TV BRICS is developing a strategy to increase Russian agricultural exports within the BRICS nations. Russia has stated that Ukraine joining the European Union is not in Moscow's interest. The Russian culture minister visited North Korea, highlighting the unprecedented level of cooperation between the two nations. President Putin commented that relations between Russia and the United States are stabilizing, which he attributed to President Trump. A vital Russian military factory has reportedly closed because Putin refused to pay the market rate for technology. China faces increasing flood risks and is expanding flood aid in response to looming extreme rain. The nation is also experiencing a surge in emotional consumption, prompting Chinese museums to release creative merchandise to augment their budgets. China's technological landscape is evolving rapidly, with the country quickly closing the gap with the US in algorithm technology for AI, although it still lags behind in AI chip technology. This progress is exemplified by Chinese AI startups, such as one founded by Yukai, which have transitioned from Cambridge to Suzhou to capitalize on China's market and talent pool, achieving unicorn status. In trade and economics, China's dominance in rare earth element production has led to concerns that export restrictions could disrupt global auto manufacturing. Meanwhile, us importers of fireworks, predominantly made in China, are now subject to tariffs of at least 30%, potentially leading to higher prices for consumers. China has established its first offshore gold vault in Hong Kong, though its ability to challenge London's established dominance remains to be seen. Shifting focus to the United States, hopes for improved trade relations with China have fueled a rise in shares and a corresponding drop in the US dollar. The US also faces economic implications from tariffs on imported fireworks, primarily sourced from China, which are now at least 30%, potentially increasing consumer costs. Meanwhile, in Taiwan, the nation is actively developing new sea drone technology to enhance its defense capabilities against potential threats from China. South Korea has lifted its 14-year ban on Kimchi Bond investments to enhance foreign exchange liquidity. The nation is also promoting MICE tourism, particularly for the 25 APEC summit in Gambit. Negotiations with the US are intensifying as the July tariff deadline nears, with South Korea seeking a mutually beneficial agreement. South Korea's financial assets in the US have reached USD 962.6 billion. Domestically, lending regulations are being tightened to control rising household debt. The nuclear watchdog has approved the first nuclear power plant dismantlement. Former President Yoon is under investigation for a failed martial law attempt. 6 Americans were detained for attempting to send rice and Bibles to North Korea by sea. India is witnessing a surge in its stock market, fueled by foreign portfolio investors, who injected over 13,000 crore into Indian equities between June 23 and June 27th, according to NSDL. Data. The Sensex and Nifty 50 indices are nearing record highs, bolstered by positive global cues and foreign institutional investor inflows. Projections indicate accelerated sales growth for Indian-listed companies in the fiscal year 2024-25. Adding to the technological landscape, Elon Musk's Starlink is preparing to launch its internet services in India, with details regarding pricing, plans, speed, and setup costs to be announced soon. Meanwhile, market analysts are recommending stocks like TV's Motor and the Hanga Gas, pointing to their robust performance and consolidation breakout. Saudi Arabia continues its path of economic diversification and cultural promotion. The extension of the tax penalty waiver initiative until the end of 2025 aims to further stimulate economic activity. The Lazard project in Al Khobar, with its extensive housing and urban facilities, exemplifies the nation's commitment to modern development. Highlighting Saudi Arabia's cultural identity, a Riyadh-themed Monopoly game was introduced, showcasing the capital's iconic landmarks. Reinforcing international ties, Punjab is sending 100 graduates to work in Saudi Arabia's construction and hospitality industries. Transitioning to China, the nation is focused on technological advancement and international cooperation. The country's Chang'e 6 lunar probe successfully landed on the far side of the moon. It began collecting samples for return to Earth, marking a historic achievement in space exploration. China and Australia are also resuming high-level economic dialogue after a 4-year suspension. This signals a thaw in relations and a renewed focus on trade and investment. Meanwhile, in Canada, discussions around electoral reform are gaining traction. A motion in Parliament to study proportional representation was recently defeated. However, the debate highlights ongoing interest in modernizing the country's electoral system. Furthermore, Canada is experiencing a notable increase in international student enrollment. India remains the top source country, followed by China and Nigeria, enriching the nation's academic landscape. Focusing on Nigeria, efforts to stabilize the economy and address security challenges are underway. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is 1 year into his administration, grappling with economic reforms and security issues. The government is working to attract foreign investment and combat insecurity in various regions. Nigeria's economic reforms include currency devaluation, fuel subsidy removal, and other market-oriented policies. In South Korea, the focus is on addressing demographic challenges and strengthening international alliances. The country's birth rate remains critically low, prompting urgent government action. Incentives and policies aimed at encouraging larger families are being implemented. South Korea is also deepening its security cooperation with the United States and Japan, strengthening regional stability. This trilateral alliance is focused on deterring North Korean aggression and promoting shared security interests. Hong Kong has climbed back into the top 3 of the Iron World Competitiveness Yearbook. This reflects renewed confidence and ambition in the region. Equity capital markets are rebounding in the first half of the year. The anticipated Shine EPO may further boost this. Hong Kong police arrested 8 people for share sale scams. Payment Connect is expected to enhance Hong Kong's role as a global financial center. Thailand is currently grappling with political turmoil, with Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra seeing a dip in public approval amid growing demonstrations in Bangkok, where hundreds are calling for her to step down. Despite this domestic challenge, Thailand has also become the leading foreign exporter of pet food to the United States. This economic bright spot, however, is clouded by policy instability, causing some US importers to consider diversifying their supply chains. South Africa's Government of National Unity, NEMU, is experiencing potential turbulence. The Democratic Alliance, DA, is considering withdrawing from coalition talks. President Ramaphosa subsequently cancelled a trip. Investor confidence is increasing for South African platinum miners, spurred by platinum price recovery. Japan marked a milestone with the successful launch of a climate change monitoring satellite aboard the last H2AA rocket. Despite a sluggish economy, Japan's Nikkei stock market index soared past 40,000, a level unseen since January, buoyed by receding tariff worries. On the trade front, Japan's trade negotiator expressed uncertainty regarding the direction of current tariff negotiations with the United States. Pakistan's relationship with the United States has geopolitical implications for China and India, highlighting a complex regional dynamic. Economically, the Pakistan Stock Exchange, PSX, is performing strongly, ranking among the world's top stock markets in fiscal year 25. Pakistan is also showing progress in managing its finances, becoming a leader among emerging markets in reducing default risk. The country also experienced an earthquake, measuring 5.2 on the Richter scale. Russia and Ukraine persist in exchanging long-range drone attacks, escalating regional tensions. Kazakhstan, however, has refuted allegations that Ukrainian drones traversed its airspace during attacks on Russia. The theft of lithium by Moscow in Ukraine has further complicated the tech power landscape. Despite reservations from Germany regarding sustained connections, Malaysia's Deputy Prime Minister Fadilia has indicated that economic ties between Russia and Malaysia are set to strengthen. Turning to the United States, former President Trump suggested that Putin might extend invasions into Europe after Zelensky's appearance at a NATO summit. Trump is also reportedly considering a $30 billion nuclear deal for Iran. Adding to trade tensions, he also stated he is terminating trade talks with Canada. However, the U.S. and China have reached a trade truce. In Canada, the trade talks with the U.S. are reportedly ending as per Trump's statement. Global trade, optimism, and reduced geopolitical concerns between Israel and Iran are expected to exert downward pressure on max gold prices, diminishing its appeal as a safe haven investment. The S&P 500 has reclaimed all-time highs as US markets recover, while European and Chinese stocks also show gains. Singapore stocks have surged to a 7-year peak, despite weak Chinese economic data. While Americans are divesting from gold coins, Asian investors are accumulating them. Bitfavo is expanding its crypto exchange operations within the European market. Switzerland anticipates that as tariffs will remain in place. Australia has implemented new road rules, including fines, reduced speed limits, and AI camera surveillance. Online casino platforms are increasingly leveraging Australia's fintech and payment infrastructure. In Italy, Venice has witnessed protests against Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, Bezos's wedding celebrations, seen as a symbol of widening inequality. France is introducing a smoking ban in public areas like parks, beaches, and near schools to curb tobacco consumption. The Saudi Fund for Development has formalized a loan agreement aimed at improving infrastructure in Tunisia. Lithuania will benefit from a Memorandum of Understanding signed between Northrop Grumman and the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Finance. Mexico and Saudi Arabia were poised for a crucial World Cup quarterfinal, laden with historical and political undertones. The United States, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Saudi Arabia secured their places in the 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup quarterfinals. In Uganda, the long-standing president is maneuvering to prolong his 4-decade rule. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on WHAM Today.